3 American aircraft, 1 mission, all destroyed. At approximately 14:22 local time over the skies of Khuzestan province, a C-130 Hercules was ripped from the air. Then a Black Hawk fell. Then another Black Hawk, burning, struck the ground before its crew had any warning it was coming. The largest single loss of American rescue aircraft in a combat operation since the Iran hostage crisis in 1980. Over $200 million in American air assets erased in under 20 minutes. Multiple crew members dead or missing. 0 survivors recovered from the original downed aircraft they went in to save. And right now, American commanders are deciding whether to send another crew into that same airspace. How does the most powerful military on Earth lose 3 aircraft trying to save 2? What you're about to hear goes far beyond anything the official statements have revealed. What the Pentagon released was carefully worded to minimize what the public understands about what actually happened. Every major network is calling this an isolated incident. It is not an isolated incident. The official statements confirmed aircraft losses. That is all they confirmed. No identification of which Iranian system executed these kills. No explanation of why electronic warfare countermeasures failed. No acknowledgement of why the rescue mission launched into airspace that had not been cleared. Nothing that would allow the public to understand what this engagement actually revealed. What they told you publicly was 3 aircraft lost in a rescue operation. What was actually happening was the exposure of a doctrine gap that Iran has been engineering for 18 months. What I'm going to show you is the complete picture that no briefing room in Washington wants assembled in one place. Over the next 12 minutes, I'm going to show you exactly what Iranian weapon systems executed this triple kill and why American electronic warfare countermeasures failed to prevent it. Why sending a C-130 and 2 Black Hawks into that airspace was a decision made on intelligence that was already 18 hours out of date. And why this single mission just ended the assumption that America can conduct combat search and rescue in any airspace where Iran has positioned its integrated air defense network. What I'm about to lay out changes how you understand this entire conflict. The analysis I'm bringing you here is the kind of critical intelligence breakdown that mainstream coverage will never assemble. If this is the kind of information you need, subscribe and hit like. It's what keeps this channel running and this work continuing. Now let's get into what actually happened. Here is what U.S. Central Command officially confirmed in their statement released 6 hours after the incident. 1 C-130 Hercules transport aircraft and 2 UH-60 Black Hawk helicopters were lost during a combat search and rescue operation over southwestern Iran. Multiple personnel casualties are confirmed. Next of kin notifications are ongoing. The incident is under investigation. That was the complete statement. No mention of which Iranian system executed the kills. No acknowledgement of why electronic warfare countermeasures failed to protect 3 separate aircraft across a single engagement. No explanation of why the rescue mission launched into airspace that had not been confirmed clear. No identification of what intelligence the mission was based on or how old that intelligence was when the crews took off. Nothing. When a Pentagon spokesperson was asked directly which Iranian air defense platform was responsible, the response was a single sentence. That information is not available for release as the investigation remains active. But here's what they are not telling you. Without understanding what was omitted from that statement, you cannot understand what this loss actually means for American military operations in this theater. The gaps in that official account are not bureaucratic caution. They are the shape of something the Pentagon does not want the public to see clearly. To understand why those countermeasures failed, you need to understand exactly what Iran launched at them. Start with what was lost and what it was designed to survive. The C-130 Hercules is a 4-engine turboprop built for contested environments. Not permissive airspace, but airspace where threats exist and can be managed. It carries an integrated defensive systems package, including radar warning receivers, missile approach warning systems, and chaff and flare dispensers. Operational ceiling sits at approximately 28,000 feet. Unit cost runs approximately $65 million per airframe. It was designed to operate in contested but not fully denied airspace. On this mission, it flew into fully denied airspace. It did not return. The UH-60 Black Hawk presents a different profile. Twin engine, 4 crew, operational ceiling approximately 19,000 feet, with a radar cross-section that makes it difficult but not impossible to track at low altitude. Unit cost approximately $21 million per airframe. 2 were sent. Both were destroyed. Most people assume Black Hawks flying low and slow are too difficult for surface-to-air missile systems designed for fast-moving fixed-wing aircraft to engage reliably. In reality, the Khordad-15 was specifically engineered to close exactly that gap. The Khordad-15 is Iran's domestically produced radar-guided engagement platform with a documented engagement range of up to 120 kilometers, the capability to simultaneously track multiple targets, and a low-altitude engagement envelope that reaches down to 30 meters above ground level. Its Sayyad-3 interceptor missile is optimized precisely for the low and slow profile that rescue helicopters fly by doctrine. This is not a system designed to shoot down jets. It is a system designed to shoot down everything else. Here is what should concern Pentagon planners. The Black Hawks were flying below their normal operational ceiling, specifically to avoid higher altitude radar detection. The Khordad-15 tracked them anyway. Iran spent approximately $3 million in missiles to destroy $107 million in American aircraft and equipment. That is a 35-to-1 cost advantage for the defender. This is not in any mainstream analysis of this engagement, but it is the detail that explains everything. And if that arithmetic alone is not alarming enough, here is what happens when you map it across the entire operational picture. 3 aircraft destroyed, multiple crew members dead or missing, $107 million in direct losses in under 20 minutes. But here's what makes this different from a simple equipment loss. Standard rescue doctrine is absolute. When an aircraft goes down, the rescue mission launches. No exceptions. Iran knows this doctrine. They knew the C-130 would launch. They waited for it. The entire flight path was mapped in Tehran before the first plane took off. The C-130 and both Black Hawks flew into a prepared engagement envelope. This was not opportunistic. This was a trap designed over weeks. And it gets worse. Every American pilot currently flying missions near Iranian-controlled airspace now knows that ejecting might mean dying twice. Once in the initial shoot-down when they are most vulnerable, and again when the rescue arrives in a predictable flight corridor toward a known crash site. Pilots internalize this. Operational tempo slows. Mission planners account for psychological resistance. The air campaign degrades not because of aircraft inventory, but because of who is flying them and what they believe will happen if they are hit. But that's not the worst part. Gulf states hosting American forward operating bases are watching this footage on Iranian state television right now. Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and Kuwait are recalculating whether hosting U.S. rescue operations makes their territory a target. Basing access, the foundation of everything American air power does in this theater, is now under political pressure no one is discussing publicly. Here's where it becomes catastrophic. Oil markets registered this engagement within hours. Brent crude spiked $6 per barrel on the single headline that American rescue operations are vulnerable. If Iran can demonstrate systematic denial of air rescue capability, insurance costs for tankers moving through the Persian Gulf corridor will surge an estimated 340%. That cost passes to every consumer at the pump worldwide. This connection was not made in any major outlet's coverage, but this is what this loss actually means. So the question being asked right now, in command centers from Washington to Tel Aviv to Riyadh, is what America does next. And every option available is worse than the last. There are 3 options on the table. None of them end well. Option 1 is to suspend combat search and rescue operations temporarily, while dedicated strike packages work to suppress identified Khordad-15 and Sayyad-3 positions across the engagement zone. The strategic precedent this sets is immediate and irreversible. Every American pilot currently flying missions in this theater will know with certainty that if they are hit and eject, the rescue will not come. Retention consequences are severe. Operational tempo collapses. Force protection doctrine has never sanctioned abandoning downed aircrew, and for good reason. Option 2 is to continue rescue operations with heavier escort packages. More aircraft, more electronic warfare support, higher mission profiles. This gives Iran larger and more valuable target sets on every subsequent operation. The cost-exchange ratio does not improve. It compounds. Iran does not need to defeat American air power. They only need to make American rescue operations too expensive to sustain at current operational tempo. Option 3 is a full suppression campaign against Iranian air defense infrastructure, hundreds of additional strike sorties, massive additional exposure across a degraded deterrence calculus, and the very real risk of triggering the regional escalation threshold that 8 weeks of careful escalation management has been specifically designed to avoid. None of these options end well. The decision is being made right now in the National Military Command Center beneath the Pentagon by people who have watched the engagement footage and are operating under time pressure the public cannot fully appreciate. American leverage in this theater has been shrinking for 3 weeks. This engagement just accelerated that timeline. 3 aircraft destroyed. A rescue mission turned into a prepared ambush. A 35-to-1 cost-exchange ratio the Pentagon cannot sustain. Pilot psychology degrading across an entire theater. Gulf states watching and recalculating, oil markets moving on a single engagement. The people around you will not understand what this loss actually means unless someone shows them. That is what this video is for. Share this with everyone who still thinks America's ability to protect its own people in this conflict is intact. Do you think the United States can reverse this? Or has Iran just permanently changed the risk calculation for every American pilot in this theater? Tell me what you think below. The next Iranian move in this sequence is already being planned. And based on what happened over that airspace, they have every reason to believe the same approach will work again.